Is today the day? Morning everybody. Finally getting to our debrief. So it's actually the next morning, so it's a full 24 hours since Cupcake had her babies. And I just thought I would wait a little bit just to make sure everything was all right. So here we are. And I'll just run through because I didn't film as much as I normally do or as much as I would have liked to. Because obviously her health comes first before everything. And being a maiden, she wasn't quite sure what was happening to her. So you'll see she's still contracting a bit. We think there could be, residual, maybe a bit of placenta in there. We'll just see how we go. Again, it was a bit of a non-textbook birth. So I just have to see how she goes, and I'll be monitoring closely today. So let's see. So she started off, first baby was really quite scary for her. She went straight into her birthing cave, like she knew where she was going to have them, which is nice. Sometimes you find girls that get into all sorts of weird places. Some of them think they can have them in the litter tray. Like Pocket thought under the bed covers were the best thing. Good girl. But no, she was in here. She's quite a human-orientated cat. Like, she would keep coming up to me and meowing, and she wanted me to sit in front of the cave with her, so that's always quite sweet when they're like that. So I was there for almost all of it. So the first baby, again, really was quite scary for her, and she did struggle to get it out, and once it was out, she was a bit like, what is this thing that hurt me? But we put it back in the birthing cave, and she came back over, and she settled quite quickly after that, had the second one, and no real dramas for the first two once she'd settled. The problem happened when she delivered. I'm not really counting it as a baby because it was an underdeveloped, I suppose we'll just call it an underdeveloped embryo. It had a placenta, but it wasn't a fully formed kitten. Probably a kitten that maybe reached 4 weeks of development. So she took quite a long time to push that out, and I suspect it might have held up kittens 3 and 4. Good girl, Bean. Because kittens 3 and 4, again, took quite a long time to come out, and they were a little bit yellow, which is usually a sign of distress, and a little bit slow to get going. So we did get them going, and you'll notice they're actually all quite big kittens, so quite different to tinies. They're quite big, quite long. So 3 and 4, once we got them going, they were okay. Then it was a bit of a gap until the 5th, and that one also took a bit of time to get going. But yeah, once we got it going, it was fine. And then there was quite a gap, just from memory, until she pushed out a 6th baby. And that one, sadly, it was sort of on its last legs when it came out. I'm sort of surprised it was even born alive, and we did do everything we could. We made sure it, any fluid in its mouth, was suctioned out. I swung it, made sure it was warm, but sadly, sometimes they're just a bit too far gone. So it did pass away quite quickly after birth. Good girl. And I thought she was done after that. I'm like, okay, she's 5 kittens. On the X-ray, we thought we saw 6 confirmed and an extra we weren't sure about. So that would make sense if she'd had 6 total with the underdeveloped one. So I just thought, okay. We had a few placentas that detached, and she pushed 2 out together after that last baby. So I thought, okay, she's done. She's got 5, and we're good. So I proceeded to go out and feed everybody. And then I came back, and I usually do routine head counts every 15 to 30 minutes because I'm a wee bit paranoid. And I just counted 5 heads each time. And then a couple of hours later, I did a head count and there was an extra head. And I realised that she had 6 babies. So she had delivered another baby probably while I was feeding the rest of the crew. Or maybe straight after she'd passed the 2 placentas. I'm not quite sure. But yeah, I couldn't even tell which one it was because it was already dry and clean. So yeah, Cupcake now has 6 babies. So I suppose you could say total was 8 or 7 and 1 underdeveloped one. And that was pretty much her birth. So we're just monitoring her really closely today because, again, I didn't see the last kitten born. I don't know if it came out with a placenta. And it is quite important to make sure that all placentas or bits of placenta are pushed out. Oh, Bean, good girl. So, yeah, that was Cupcake's birth. For a maiden mum, she actually did really well. She didn't leave them for 12 hours. She's only really got up and attended to her needs this morning. So I'd hand-fed her last night, syringed some water in. Sorry, it's just, there we go. Good girl. And I only changed this blanket late last night. I usually like doing that quite early, but she was very comfy on her manky blue blanket from birthing, so I left it longer than I usually do. But we're all clean now, and babies have all been drinking, all plugged in, and we'll just monitor really closely today. Hi everybody. We're a few days after I last filmed that long dialogue of how things were going. And unfortunately, things haven't been quite so smooth. As with breeding, things can go downhill really quite quickly. So I'll bring you up to speed with how we are. So here we have Cupcake, and we are on Monday, and she had them last Wednesday. And we have her babies here. Hello. And we have 5 babies now. So very sadly, we did lose a baby. And sometimes they can just go downhill so quickly. And it is usually within the first 3 days. If there's anything wrong, we didn't know what was wrong with that baby. But it was day 3 that he passed away. And again, very quickly. Cupcake. So very sad. So I've just taken a couple of days just to focus on her. So we're not out of the woods yet with her. We're not entirely sure exactly what's going on, but she does have some placenta gunge discharge, maybe infection. So she is on antibiotics. I did have to take her to the vet on the Thursday. And sadly, we lost the baby on the Friday, but on the Thursday, she went in and she had high temperature. So she had quite a few shots of oxytocin, which will usually move things through if there's any placenta that hasn't come through. So she's just sort of been, expelling gunge, which sounds a bit gross, but that's just breeding. So she's on antibiotics, and we're monitoring her temperature. She is much better today. Like her temperature's pretty good, 38.9. And she's eating and drinking using the tray, feeding the babies, cleaning them. So yeah, apart from expelling discharge, which I've spoken to my vet and she does say, you know, better out than in, so at least it is open and not banking up inside, so that's good. But it is we're just monitoring. It's a bit touch and go. I'd love to say she's doing really well because it does sort of seem like she is today. But yeah, I think it's just a monitor as we go. But the fact that she's eating and drinking is really good, and that she's taking care of the babies. Hi, Cupcake. So yeah, please feel welcome to ask any questions. More than happy to answer. I know there's a few of you who follow my channel, especially overseas, who perhaps are new to breeding. If I can answer anything, I'd be happy to. I've only really been through this sort of thing once, where there was a retained placenta and the girl did have an infection and a fever. And luckily with that cat, we did manage to get her to push it out. But Cupcake, it's a bit too far beyond the birth. So oxytocin is pretty much useless now. So we just have to treat with antibiotics and monitor her closely, and hopefully it clears up. Hi everybody. So here we have Cupcake and her 5 babies, and we are on Thursday, and it's a week and a day after they were born. And I think we are out of the woods. All her babies seem really, really good. Fat, happy, loud, all gaining each day. My main concern was obviously for her, and she doesn't have any outward symptoms. Her temperature's back to normal. Oh my goodness. Hello. Whoops. Can you get up? Yep. So yeah, no temperature. And she's eating, drinking, feeding the babies. Yeah, there's no discharge or anything. So she's been on antibiotics up until today. So we'll see how she goes off those. I will talk to my vet and see if she does want to keep her on them for another few days or a week, just to be sure. But so far, so good. I'm just, really hopeful that we're out of the woods. And with the kittens, we have 3 boys and 2 girls. I can't really tell much more than that. They're all bicolours. Some might be tabby and some like Cupcake, normal. Aww. So if you've made it this far in the journey, thank you for watching. I'll end the video with some nice, sweet kitten close-ups. And if you've got any questions at all, please feel welcome to drop a comment below. If you could like the video and consider subscribing, it doesn't cost anything, but it does help us out a lot with good old YouTube's algorithm. And hopefully this video will be out quite soon, because I'd love to do perhaps more day-to-day stuff of them. Kittens are the most indignant creatures ever. Good girl, Cupcake. She's actually such a good mum. I'm putting them back in.